Come to order. Okay, today being December 4th, 2020, the time's 5:30. This meeting of the Tilton Northwest Fire and EMS Budget Committee will now come to order, please. And I'm going to read the right to know COVID-19 stuff. Due to the COVID-19 coronavirus crisis and in accordance with Government News Emergency Order Number 12, pursuant to Executive Order 2020-04, this board is authorized to meet electronically. Please note that there is no physical location to observe and listen contemporaneously to the meeting, which was authorized pursuant to the Governor's emergency order. However, in accordance with the emergency order, this is to confirm that we are utilizing the Zoom platform for this electronic meeting. Is it Zoom?
No, it's Teams, Microsoft Teams.
What is it?
Microsoft Teams. I'll have that ready for you for the next meeting.
Okay, thank you. Team. Platform for this electronic meeting, all members of the board have the ability to communicate contemporaneously during meetings through the Microsoft Team platform, and the public has access to contemporaneously listen and, if necessary, participate in this meeting through dialing the following phone number: 603-370-3071. And the password is 826-341-098. Do they need to pound after the password?
Yes.
If anybody has a problem connecting, please call 238-2253. In the event the public is unable to access the meeting, we will adjourn the meeting and have it rescheduled at another time. Please note that all votes that are taken during this meeting should be done by roll call vote. All right, let's take a roll call attendance. If we have a paper.
Scott Landowski.
Jason Leonard, present.
Eric Connor, present.
I'm sorry, Kevin Walden.
Dawson present. And on our telephones, thank you, Jane.
And Charlie said he was present.
He said he was present. All right.
Oh,
Yeah.
Did everybody have an opportunity to read the minutes?
He's wearing a mask.
Yes.
it's city across the room.
Did everybody read the minutes that were emailed to us?
Yes. Disclose to the people in the room.
Yes, he's supposed to say that.
I haven't read that, but
That's fine. Jane's alone, I can see it.
the one thing that needs to be in the minutes, and I noticed in these, is that those who are attending the meeting, members, it needs to be noted that they're doing it electronically, and it needs to show why.
I will let that know.
That's 92A, section 3, and I'm not sure which subsection under 3 it is, but.
Yeah. Well, I know that they were absent because of COVID. And
Right,
so
I mean,
using
and that's,
tonight.
that's
Yeah.
why we're all doing this, so but it's supposed to show up.
Yeah, I will make sure that that's that correction.
Did everybody read the minutes? Yes?
Yes.
Anybody have corrections? Changes?
Yeah.
Jane, are you all set with the minutes?
I'm all set.
Charles?
He's all set.
He's all set. And you're looking for?
Yeah, there's something that said that I said, but I don't know.
Okay.
Did I ask you about capital spending, or did we both ask you, or somebody asked?
I don't remember who asked. It's on the audio version, and I brought that information.
Jason asked if there were any bylaws or guidelines that were following.
Oh, yeah, yes,
Kevin agreed with Jason's statement, believe it is a huge benefit to have a chief budget. Did you say that, or did you say it's not?
Yeah, yeah.
You said something to the contrary.
Would you? Oh, okay.
Anything else? Make a motion to accept the minutes as corrected.
I'll second that.
Roll call vote, please.
Alden, yes.
All right, let's get.
Charlie?
Jason,
Jason Reddick, yes, as amended.
Scott Ladowski, yes.
Dustin, yes.
Baldwin, yes.
Harvard, yes.
Okay, all right. Now, do you want to just get right into the budget? Does anybody have any questions before we go right into dealing with this budget? Questions on anything else? No, looks like everybody's fine with the budget.
Are these the same, the one that we got today, and the one we did last week?
No, the ones you got today have the, they have all the information and they're updated through today. But
I
it's
still
just
There's
voted-
some gaps to fill in.
they filled in, most of the gaps except maybe one or two
Do
things.
they have a 3 days of spending?
I studied one.
No, it's not, because the water district, hasn't been completed.
I studied the one we had last week, so I'm
Right,
gonna work
that's
off
fine.
that.
It doesn't change the narrative, right?
No. You know, they did finish everything except for those two things.
I noticed this is kind of in two or three parts, right?
The first part is the operating budget, and the second part is the apparatus and equipment budget.
Well, it seems like this.
At the end of the operating budget, you will have warrant articles regarding the operating budget, and at the end of the apparatus and equipment fund, they'll be the same thing.
Well, I say it's in two parts. So on page 2, we have kind of a, this is the way budgets used to be written about 20 years ago. And then on the next page, we have more of a breakdown of those, like 4130, the executive. On page 3 is where the breakdown starts.
Right, that's where,
My suggestion
page
is
2 is a summary.
we start with page 3. Is everybody all right with that? Rather than,
Your page 3, the same as my page 3?
I'm working off the last week's.
Executive,
It still should be the same, it would say executive on page 3.
40, starting at
43 at the
41.
top? Yeah.
That's correct,
641.55.
yes.
Yep.
They're all the same page-wise, it's just that the ones I handed out today have more information.
Oh. But I got more information in there.
Okay.
So does anybody have any questions under the executive 4130, those wages? We can come back to these too, so tonight, basically,
Not
yeah.
in general, but the treasurer got paid, the clerk got paid, the treasurer was not paid, the moderator was not paid.
They have not asked for their, at this point in time, they have not asked for their wages, they're getting paid next week. It'll finish off the executive.
So it's, they have to ask for it, or is it a, how does that work?
Well,
For here.
what happens is that like in June, I had 2 people ask me for their wages, for their stipend. I said, okay, so I asked everybody. And one said they wanted half, 2 said they didn't want it yet. So, and the moderator didn't want his either. So it's now the end of the year, I don't ask, I just cut the checks
I would say,
for those who haven't been paid.
for a year's work, then you get a year's pay.
Right.
It's not 10 years pay at the 6-month mark.
Anybody
So,
else?
no, I think the timing's right now, that's what I was
Yeah.
not figuring out. I know with town stuff, we just kind of, not really sure.
Yeah, well, like, I got an email from one of the commissioners asking me, when the checks would be coming in, and I emailed them back, I said, Monday, they'll be in your bank account.
So those are expected to be paid, it's not, the commissioners didn't say, hey, we're gonna, turn in our stipends back in the budget for the year,
If-
or courtesy year.
If they tell me to do that,
Yeah.
then that's fine, but otherwise I pay them.
Okay.
Anybody else? Questions on that one?
So,
James?
I'm all set. I'm all set.
So it moves us down to
But did we approve
total
those lines? Did we
executive, so
approve
we
those
have
lines?
elections. I have a question on elections.
Madam Chairman? Did we approve those lines, or we just discussing them and moving on?
Well, I think it's a little soon to approve any part of this since we just got a new budget tonight.
You're gonna get new ones every time.
Yeah, so
Every time there's a change.
my thought is as we go through, get our questions asked. So 4140 elections. You get $2,000 in the budget for elections next year. You only have one election, right?
Right.
You spent 1644 in 2019, 1845 2020, 1865 2018. Why are we jumping up to 2000?
We always budget 2,000. It depends on, supervisors' meetings, postings for your public hearings, what the police department charges us for their being there for the elections, for the meetings, and the ballots and all of that stuff.
That includes the district meeting, right?
It does
Because
include.
we've had
the
some
district meeting.
marathon meetings, because the supervisors of the checklist have to bill overtime, because they get, after a fixed number of hours, they bill over and above at an hourly rate.
They
So,
charge us an hourly rate to come to the district meeting.
Okay, what I'm saying is it's a district meeting. We're just having one, right? Well, theoretically.
Right, but we have public postings for the public hearings. We have to post, we never know how much it's going to actually cost.
Okay. Anybody have any questions on that? Auditing? Everybody okay with that? Any questions?
That's a contract, just to let you know.
What do you audit?
The financial records, all the whole budget is audited.
Okay. I'm sorry, when I think audit, I think of Avatar.
No,
No.
this is,
Okay.
and outside accounting.
These are your books.
This is like Brizlac.
Yeah, this is your books. Okay, legal expenses. They seem to have taken a jump.
It's a variable that you never know what you're gonna have.
Okay, but in 2018 you spent zero. In 2018, a little over 1,500, and this year you only spent 437.
And the commissioners would trim it down to 3,000.
Can you leave it at 3,000?
Well, for what the chief's budget was.
And the chief, you're asking for 5.
I asked for 5, they trimmed it to 3.
Excuse me?
I asked for 5, and the commissioners trimmed it to 3.
Are you anticipating a need?
I don't know what's gonna happen over the course of the year. Some things could be expensive, some things might not be so expensive. I don't know. It's just, if we have extensive legal expenses, the budget is crafted in such a way that's pretty tight.
Yeah.
I would have to try and figure out where I'm gonna take it if I don't have it in that account.
What did you ask for last year?
5,000.
Same. Shut up.
When I first arrived here, the budget line was 10,000.
Yeah.
Anyone else? 4155, personnel administration. Your group health insurance went up a lot. I didn't do the math, but that looks like more than 6.4%.
Well, it includes more people too,
It's the adding of staff.
adding the safer people in there.
There is a sheet in your packet. It looks like this.
With the red
The
line.
rest of the information,
It shows you the breakout of,
With-
oh, I see.
If we add up all the red totals, and come to the total cost to the taxpayer, is the free from that is?
the red totals is
the grant
the
funded.
grant funded.
For 3 years, is that what I understand?
That's for this year, what it's going, the grant's covering.
Right, but the grant's
The
going to
grant's
fund
for
them
3 years,
for 3
yes.
years.
And so what is,
And then after that, the taxpayers will incur these costs. Well, they probably will have increased by then. Okay.
what is the cost of the taxpayer for those 4 people? How do I find that number?
The cost of the taxpayer this year for those people, I think we passed that number out at some point. It's, we have to pay for the physical, which is about $500, background check, which is like 60-something with the license, driver's license check. We have to pay for their turnout gear and their duty uniforms, which is, those two together is about $5,000. So all told, it's like $5,600 maybe.
And the turnout gear comes out the apparatus and equipment fund.
Yeah, so that's not part of the tax base.
You call it turnout gear?
Yes,
The-
this stuff laying up here, the black. It says special firefighting gear.
Okay. Anyone else?
Yeah, the health, Eric, you started talking about health insurance earlier this week. Is the grant funding the basic one person, or is it cover whatever they pick?
So
Yeah,
it takes, we offer 3 plans, a
Right.
single, a double, and a family plan.
yep,
The grants
take an average.
takes an average of all of that together. So it doesn't fully cover a family plan,
Right.
but we have to budget for it because we don't know who we're hiring yet,
Sure.
except for one person. But it's basically, so if the other 3 people are single plans, we don't expend all the money that they've given us towards health insurance, which is something like $18,000 towards health insurance.
So the grant accommodates for an average number.
Yes,
And they come in okay, that would may have to pay the difference. Maybe.
that's correct.
You hope that we hire 4 single people, but you can't say that.
Or one of each, you know, I mean, it is, okay.
It's not a question that we can even ask them during the hiring process. So, we find out after.
Now, the 6.4%, is that what the health, like, is that what the cost went up for the plans that you have, basically?
That's correct.
You had a 40% increase in New Hampshire State Fireman's Insurance?
Yes, it went from $20 per person to $28 per person. They hadn't raised the rates, trying to think, it's been eons, like 20 years since they've raised their rate, and they were losing their shirt, and so they had actuary come in and said, this is what you need to be charging this year if you want to stay afloat.
Speaking of conditions of hire, which you can and can't ask, I've worked for employers in the past where they have had, you know, these are national outfits that have had new hires sign an agreement not to participate in collective bargaining. Can you do that with new hires at this time?
And can you look into that?
They don't
Spend
have-
some of your legal on that.
It's, in New Hampshire, it's voluntary. They don't have to participate if they don't want to, and there's nothing in the foreground for that right now anyway. So I don't know if you can make them, in New Hampshire, I don't know if you can make them sign something like that. It wasn't,
I've mostly worked in New Hampshire my whole life, and there's been instances where the employer comes out and says, Home Depot or BJ, whoever, big box retail, we are a non-union place, we don't participate in collective bargaining, we want you to understand that, and we'd like you to sign this acknowledgement that you understand that and agree not to, because there have been stores across the country where all of a sudden places would sign union cards. So corporations have developed policies to ensure against that. That's a crossroads that,
You mean like Walmart, that just closed the store?
right? Yeah,
I have seen a little bit of that, and they typically don't hold up in court. Typically, if they were to be challenged, they would hold up. It's been what I.
yeah. Anyway, sorry, Bob. Sorry.
Any more questions on that? Does anybody have questions on next four, Social Security, Medicare, retirement, unemployment costs? No,
Social Security,
that's pretty low.
that's,
They don't pay social security.
that's not grant funded.
No, Social Security does not apply to the career firefighters, so they're group 2. So the only thing that applies to them is Medicare. Social Security only applies to,
Because they're in-state retirement.
yeah.
Yeah.
Beth and I have to pay Social Security, the elected officials pay Social Security, the call company pays Social Security. Everybody else, no.
Okay. Page 4. General government building. Anyone have questions there? Spalding Tower seems to be a new one. What's the 360?
that's for electricity at repeater site on Shed Road.
We didn't pay that before because it says,
This is new, it was just put in this past year.
say again?
It was just installed this past year, so
Oh.
just came on
Didn't know.
June or so. They still haven't sent us a bill for
I know.
Is that in lieu of the Park Street Tower?
No,
No.
Two different purposes.
Anyone else?
So Spalding's not gonna have like cell service on it and all that.
no,
Vision.
so Spalding owns the land and we have a lease for that. And in the lease is an agreement that we will not put a cell tower on.
Oh, okay.
So if a cell company were to go on it, they would have to negotiate with Spalding.
With the landowner.
Correct.
Anybody have any questions on the heating? No? Water?
Heating fuels, yeah, natural gas, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Sewer? No? 430, repairs and maintenance? What's happening with bathroom floor?
It needs to be replaced. It's, all the tiles are coming off and putting in Center Street.
Anyone? Yeah?
Was the shower from last year's thing?
Yes, and the commissioners asked me not to do anything with that this year because of the possible lack of funding in our budget.
Yep.
Due over expenditures on vehicle repairs.
Yeah, sure.
So we stopped the project and we rebid it, not only to add a shower, but to make it ADA as well.
Yep. Are you talking about Park Street Station shower? Or another shower?
Yeah, no. 430, 02.
Okay.
Jesus, get me over something.
Just lighting in this font is killing me in these new ones. Don't worry about it, it just, this happens at Walmart and everywhere else they go, it's just,
It's very bad.
you know. Gonna get a model. There goes the electric bill, oh boy.
All right, where are we?
I have a question on the generator above before we jump.
Where are we?
430.011 generator.
Yep.
You raised and appropriated $100 in 2020. You didn't use it this year yet.
So we have the guys, it's for, do the PM, where they, change the oil and all that kind of stuff. And they obviously they haven't done it yet because it's still there, but it still needs to be done.
Okay, but it's in the 2020 budget, correct?
Yes.
But you want to raise and appropriate it again for 2021.
So it'll need to be done again.
Annual tune-up.
It's an annual.
It's an annual.
maintenance on the
Okay,
generator.
so what you're telling me is you hadn't done it before.
Yeah, we do it every year.
Okay,
Well,
because it's
we
not
tried
showing
it.
up in 2018 or 2019 actuals. I see $27 in 2019.
That's all they spent.
Zero.
That's all they spent on it.
So then?
That's all they spent on it in 2019. They
Right.
haven't done the preventive maintenance on it yet this year.
And 2018 is zero. Okay, so you, guess you're anticipating more things wrong?
Well, if oil change is about $25, $30 to do an oil change. If something else is wrong with it, whether we need a new connector or anything like that, it just covers those expenses. Sometimes it's a propane, the regulator for the gas and stuff like that. We do it in-house. It would cost a lot more if we had a company come out and do it.
Okay. All right, Park Street Station.
Hold up. Back to Center Street, replace light, bay lights to LED.
Anything that's grayed out, Kevin, you don't have to worry about.
They're not doing
And
it.
they're not doing
It's
that.
already done.
And it's grayed out because it's going to disappear next year.
Yeah, it seemed like we talked about LED a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
That was done in 2019.
These are all,
Park Street, $9,000 for a shower.
Dan to bring this back and up to 88.
So what happened to the $4,700 that was raised and appropriated this year?
We didn't spend it because the commissioners asked me to hold off on the project due to the possibility that we didn't have the funds.
But the price is double.
Yeah, because last year, it was just adding a shower. This year, it's a shower and bringing it up to ADA. So it's a shower, it's a commode, it's the right sink thing, it's the plumbing, they have to cut out the slab and stuff like that. Widen the door, change some of the electrical in there.
And what happens to that bathroom in the event that this building gets changed?
Depends upon how they change the building.
Why does it need to be an ADA shower?
The shower in and of itself is not ADA. The rest of the bathroom is the commode and the wash basin. And the area around it has to be things to grab.
If you had visitors in a public building that have ADA required needs, it's public, it's town building,
Right.
it's a public building. It's not the showers, everything else.
building code requires if you do extensive renovation, that it be brought up to code. So today's code would require it to be ADA.
But if we leave it alone, we don't have to do anything.
If we leave it alone, then you wouldn't have to make it ADA.
The reason we initiated it is so that we could put a shower in there, because we have a lot of firefighters coming back here from incidents that are covered
That
in
contain-
carcinogens,
yeah.
and we don't want them to bring that stuff home, so we want them to shower here and decon here, so they're not bringing that kind of stuff to the house. And we don't have that right now.
Anyone else? Are you good on Park Street?
I'm disappointed that the commissioners opted not to provide that protection to the team last year.
Say that again?
I'm disappointed that the commissioners made the move not to do the shower in the interest of, for the safety of the team. Because, you know, she's talking about that it's important, and
Well, they could have,
they backed out of it. So it wasn't a big deal for this year.
What's changed in the last year that, last year we could just put a shower in?
So last year, that's all we were doing, was adding a shower. This year, we're adding a shower and converting the bathroom and making it ADA accessible. So we have to move the commode, we have to move the sink, because it has to have wheelchair accessibility in certain spaces. We're adding grab rails that are required for people who,
Why wasn't that in the plan last year?
it just wasn't.
Then why does it need to be this year?
Because the commissioners want it to be there.
Want versus need.
I don't know the difference.
Could you just add a shower still and not touch the rest of the bathroom? Is it good for the captain?
don't know, I'm gonna read.
Yeah. It may not be substantial renovation. No.
I don't know the answer to that.
Part of the concern is that we're using this building more for meetings, public meetings, because of COVID. We don't know what 2021 is going to bring. We're bringing people in here, and if they need to use the bathroom and they're in a wheelchair, we are not ADA compliant. For instance, we normally would meet at Tilton Town Hall, and that is ADA compliant. Here, we are not.
We don't have to meet here, we can meet electronically.
We don't, but if we have a public meeting here where we've been having lots of public meetings
We've
here,
had public meetings here for years.
it doesn't make that look right, that we are not ADA
We didn't
compliant.
have Zoom back then, now we do.
You know, and it's entirely up to the board or the committee on whether they want to meet electronically or not.
Okay. Page 5. Top of the page, custodial supplies, anybody? Oh. Are we expecting to be, are we adding something?
The cost of supplies has
14.5?
gone up,
Yeah, the cost of paper is going up.
it's skyrocketed. Try to buy toilet paper.
Is this because,
COVID,
so is there cleaning being done because of COVID? And does the district qualify for any of the COVID cost refunds? Why is that?
Because we're not either a municipality or a county.
You're a municipality.
Not in the,
we're a village district.
we're a special village district, which has the same powers and everything as a municipality. But I had numerous conversations with Gopher about this. Special village districts were not included in the formula to give COVID funds out. Only municipalities and the counties. I had 4 hours of argument with them.
Yeah. Thank you for doing that, because I would have too.
That's the same thing, but different. So,
Your
You
trucks aren't
can.
good enough, you know.
Yeah.
you can ask the towns to share theirs with you.
Yes, you can. That was the end of it after 4 hours. Ask the towns to give you money.
The library asked for ambulance management money from the town.
So that's kind of interesting because since the fire district
The library
essentially is
is
providing
being-
that service to the towns, and the towns pay for, right, the fire district?
Yes, so essentially, the towns of Northfield and Tilton contract with the Tilton Northfield Fire District for fire and special services, essentially.
So did anyone, it sounds like you know you could ask.
Oh, yeah, I know who to ask, I had the right people to talk to. And I wasn't alone, there were other agencies that were similar to ours.
No,
Not
I
necessarily-
mean, I knew, it sounds like you knew you could ask the towns.
Yes, I found out I could ask the town probably in October. They finally said, well, you should ask the town, because we'll let the town would have to pay you, they said, and then we would, if funds were available, would reimburse the town. So what I've been doing is instead of asking the towns, a lot of these costs I've been getting through the AFG COVID grant. And so I did win that, and I applied for a second time, I'm waiting to hear on that. Federal.
But you could nullify that increase if you asked the towns for help. And Tilton agreed to give you some.
Stuck that gentleman down there. Not me.
Because
Not me.
the Northfield board didn't hesitate.
I worked for him. I worked for him. I like it. I like it. All right,
And
moving on.
that's fair, he works for me.
Here you go. Anybody have any more any questions under that? Groundskeeping, writing more, new push more? Jane, Charles, you okay? You're good? Ready to move on? I haven't forgotten you.
You did, Charlie?
I'm ready to move on.
Okay.
Okay.
I have a question. Shed Road Tower Monitoring. What is that? Is that a new tower too? Because it hasn't been...
No, so the monitoring is a service that we contract out to, and they monitor the radio systems, the heat, the AC, the electricity, all of that thing. So if something goes wrong, they know about it instantly and notify me if I need to take immediate action, they'll come out and take action.
It doesn't look like it's ever been done before.
This is brand new.
Okay.
That's right.
Anything else?
Shed Road, the same as Spalding.
Yes. So the actual address of the tower site is, I think, 181 Shed Road.
We referred to it as Spalding earlier.
Yeah, I think we should change everything to Shed Road.
So it's the same tower?
It is.
Electricity.
There's a generator there, propane.
So that explains why there's $1 line above it because it's on the other page.
What are you talking about?
So above the tower monitoring, you've got communications tower, you have $1. Like the people in the line.
That says Pot Street one, Shed Road.
43.08.
Oh, that's for if it needs, like the gate breaks, and we have to repair the gate, it's a line for maintenance and repairs.
Okay. Anyone else? Insurance. Anybody? Questions?
Sure, who carries your workers' comp? And the company is 7.2%.
Able to go up 9.1, I can only go up to 7.2. We have a 3-year contract with them.
I don't see anything on the safer ground account that says workers' comp. Am I missing that? Nothing is
Not
out.
on that.
It is covered though. Because this is, the workman's comp is just a figure they give us based on the previous year's, total. And so next year, there may be an increase or may not be.
Right, but you have, they give you a number, in other words, it's so many dollars per salary, right? I don't know what your
It's
number is.
based on last year's.
I can tell you what foundations are, but not firefighters, so
I will,
using that
I
formula,
will add that.
yes, thank you. Because you know what the salaries are gonna be, right?
Right.
Do you buy health insurance through the interlocal trust?
Yes.
Yes.
So has there been any talk about that money revenue coming back? You know, how much of that share potentially the district might be getting?
So any money that we get back goes back to the district and to the employees and to the percentage back for each position.
That came back as a contribution from holiday that took place this month. So. It was taken off the insurance, the health insurance that we
Any questions on that section, anybody? Any more? Following on contingency fund, you're not using it, why are you looking at it?
He asked
What we're
for,
gonna have, we got voted down,
It is a warrant article, and it again will be another warrant article, and if it is funded, it will go on this line in the budget. So
we've had it over the year. It's been so crappy.
Oh, I remember.
No, I know you remember.
I'm not happy about it.
No.
I want contingency funds. Couldn't have happened until that for a reason. I don't like this case for a reason. Salaries and wages, any questions? I only got the sheet, but I'm not trying to stay in. Anybody? Like I said, it's not like always.
So, first, we get 4 more people, those are going to should be effective. It's not, so first year employees don't really affect the overtime very much at all. They get some sick time and a little bit of vacation, so that's the only overtime that they do unless they get into the generally, first year employees get impact overtime. Very low.
So,
So they get, you cover vacation,
Yes,
shift days,
yes.
and shift vacancies with overtime.
That's correct.
None of these first year employees are gonna be covering any vacation.
Well, they don't have any to begin with.
but they're not gonna be used to cover other vacancies or other shifts.
So the safer grant, one of the conditions of it is that it's to, in our specific case, is to have 4 firefighters on duty 24/7.
Right.
And once we hire those 4 new individuals, we will have 4 firefighters on duty 24/7. So if one of them is out, we still have to, we have to replace that person, whether they're a safer person or a regular person.
Well, that was my next question, is if one of those new folks is out, are you going to use overtime to fill that, to keep the 4 people, or are you just gonna let it go for the shift and run for 3?
No, we'll have 4 on call. We have to have 4. It's part of the, it's one of the conditions of the
Of
grant.
the grant, so in that case, now that there's a 33% chance more of somebody being out, because we're gonna have 3 people on a shift, now you increase that by a third, 4 people per shift, so wouldn't the overtime go up? Because one of those people is gonna be out.
It goes up marginally,
Right.
but
I know you have a formula, and
the marginally part is that the new folks that we hire don't have time to take off, so that, very little time to take off, so that's why they don't create a whole lot more overtime. That's why the overtime.
I'm not talking about that person specifically. There's now a 4-person team. So
Right.
now, you've increased the odds of, rather than a 1 in 3 chance, it's a 1 in 4 chance that somebody may be out.
Well,
And that would have to be covered. Before, you may or may not have gone with it, but now you are required in terms of the grant to have to run with 4
we've
people.
always covered man for man.
Yeah. Okay. It just seems like the stakes are a little higher when there's 4 people now covering.
Well, I can understand how you can see it that way.
And especially now that you're required.
But every individual we have, they're here at different lengths of time. So some folks have a lot more vacation than other folks, and the new folks have very little to none. And the folks that have been here a long time have, 4 weeks of vacation time and a lot more sick time accumulated to be used as personal time, some of it anyways.
All right, so if you've got 4 new folks that are now on the books, they may not be on a shift, but if they're training, they're on the books, so you're gonna have to pull a 4th person onto the crew if they're at a training event or an orientation or a certification.
So the first year that they're here, they don't really go, we'll have a 2-week where they're on days for orientation.
But they're not out.
training. They're not assigned to a shift yet,
Gotcha.
then they'll be assigned to a shift, and once that happens, 4 people per shift.
All right.
Anyone else? I have a question, school training fees. That certainly took a jump.
Yes, so that is one of the things, because of COVID, that we didn't perform this year. And so I have a backlog of firefighters that have requested training. And since we didn't do it last year, we're adding it this year. And so we didn't spend that money this year as well.
So it looks like 2019 you spent $14.93.
Mm-hmm.
So it's quite a jump up to $23,975.
Yeah, give me a sec, I'll see if I can find that sheet. So when I start preparing the budget, and that's usually in the summer, believe it or not, I ask everybody what do they want, where do they want to go for training and things like that. And so there's like EMS conferences, the trauma conference in Concord, folks want to go to the National Fire Academy. There's also RSI training for the paramedics, paramedic recertification, EMT recertification. All that adds up. Some of it's required, some of it's optional. So when I went through all that, they came up with a request that totaled $43,375 was the request. I pared it down to $23,975 this year, given the fact that we really didn't perform anything last year. And there's quite a backlog. I have call firefighters that have to take firefighter 1. They've been here for a year and still haven't been able to take firefighter 1. I have people that want to take EMT classes that've been here now and haven't been able to get certified at, either EMT or an advanced EMT. And so I've got all these folks waiting in line to do this, and we haven't been able to do it last year because of the COVID. All these classes were canceled or makeshift, and it turned out not to be, things didn't work out so well. So we're trying to catch up this year with all that stuff. And next year it should go down back to about 15,000.
So you ask the employees what they want to do for training?
Well, there's certain things I require them to do. Like if they're certified in rope rescue, they're required to take that refresher course. If they're certified in swift water, they're required to take that swift water training. Same with confined space, trench rescue. We have all those things that if you're certified in it, if we pay for you to get certified, we keep you certified in it so that the training doesn't go to waste. So those things with EMT, paramedic training, all those are required. You have to go. But then we also offer for expansion of knowledge within the fire department. If they want to go to a class that I think is going to be beneficial to the fire department, I'll review it, and if it's appropriate, I'll let them go.
The career development.
Yeah.
So they're not just a firefighter program, like
And some of them are like the EMS trauma conference, it's usually in Concord.
Yeah.
A lot of them sign up for that, and that gives them credits towards their recertification as well. Besides the recertification course at the end of your 2-year license level, you have to, on the outside, get a whole bunch of extra training hours in that kind of thing.
We're not going to Hawaii or anything.
I want to go if they do.
Anybody have any more questions? Jane? Charlie?
I'm all
You
set.
good?
I always like that line because that helps retain the talent that you want to retain,
Yeah.
you know, and
All right, we're on page 6. Telephone, cell phones, internet. What do they have to dial phones?
My dad's got it.
Dial phones.
I still have dial phones. And I use a flip phone, so this is a really rough.
Yeah, you still have
That's-
King's.
it's on the
That's
wall.
pulse
Yeah, the crank
dial.
it.
Huh?
It's pulse dialing. If you wanted to know the technical term.
Expensive.
Yeah, by the
Information technology. Anybody? Audio conference.
That's TV.
That's actually $48 for the year.
Yeah,
That's really good.
that's why we ended up going with Microsoft Teams instead of Zoom. Price was, you know,
I just have a question on, so your QuickBooks 5 years of license and then QuickBooks hosting, what's the difference?
okay, the licensing is for QuickBooks itself, the hosting is done in the cloud by another company.
So we don't have
So
a
one is
server.
storage.
It's all in the cloud.
It's all in the cloud.
I am totally not in the cloud. Talk like I
There was
should
a-
know, I don't.
So there was a server migration project where
Yes.
we owned a very large
Antique.
antique piece of equipment. We were storing locally, and rather than buy yet another boat anchor.
So the hosting is the storage,
It's-
Yes.
right, It
and the other is
More
people using
protection,
it.
more-
Okay.
is less risk, more guarantees,
Anyone?
double backups.
This is not an area that I'm good at, so I'm only looking at increases and under mine liking that I see decreases. Anybody, we're good? Okay, medical services, physical exams. These aren't covered under some kind of medical insurance? I mean, 32 physical exams at
Right.
250?
Right, those are NFPA physicals.
Say again?
And FDA 1582 is the physicals
Specific.
that specifically for firefighters.
And it's not covered under any type of medical insurance?
No, it's not like, it's not the same exam that you would get if you go to the primary care physician.
So is this more like what I'd get if I wanted a car to drive a heavy truck?
That's a CDL medical card.
It's some of it's the same as a CDL medical card, but not all of it.
Some of it's to get baselines so that you see if you get cancer and things like that.
And this says 8 new employees.
Yes.
That's called company as well.
Yeah, so when we hire new employees, we're hiring 4 additional employees from the Safer Grant, we have to pay for those. And we allow to hire 4 additional either call or if somebody leaves, we have to replace a career staff person. And new employee exams are more expensive than people who have been there, because they're a lot more expensive.
So I think I don't understand. The SAFER grant, you're thinking of hiring 4 new employees
Yep,
who are going to not be call employees.
that's right.
But you're also thinking of hiring 4 new call employees?
Well, I would like to, but I don't know if we can. That's a process that it's an ongoing process all year long, trying to get people to sign up to be a call firefighter or a call EMT. And if we do hire them, we do give them a starting physical.
How many did you get last year, just out of curiosity?
Christian?
We had 3 that had applied, and everything was put on hold because of COVID. So everything's like in limbo at this time.
Where do you guys go for your physicals? Is it down there?
Hospital. Because they do the,
Thermometer,
thank you.
pulmonary function test.
Yes, they do those right there, whereas with Merrimack Valley Health, you have to go elsewhere. And, you know, the different sections of it, they send you to different locations. Whereas we can just send it to Concord and boom, done. And we actually did a quote from both of them, and Concord Health came in cheaper than Merrimack Valley.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? How about the next 4, professional background check, printing,
Wow.
dues and subscriptions?
Professional services, we keep $1 there to keep the line open.
Anybody questions? Background checks, I have a question. Didn't I just hear that was in another line item?
No, that's separate. The chief was just explaining the different things that are done with new hires.
Got it. That new hires need.
Right.
Okay. Under dues of subscriptions, which one of these are required?
NFPA is required to the department, so we have access to the current codes for code enforcement.
National Fire Prevention Agency is required?
Yeah.
That's what you said?
Yes.
What else is required?
So within my contract, the New Hampshire Fire Chiefs Association and the International Association of Fire Chiefs is required. New Hampshire Municipal Association is a good thing to belong to.
The fire department safety officer is required to use the
Yep.
extension of that certification.
Say again?
The Incident Safety Officer certification, so I belong to that organization.
Okay.
Keep that up. Let's see, certification. ECG Weekly is a thing that we sign to, so our medics can every week there's a new task for training to read EKGs and things like that.
Questions, anybody? Page 7? Did I hear Jane?
Yeah, she said not for me.
Everybody good with the first 2, office supplies and postage? About 6:30, equipment maintenance and repairs.
We didn't appropriate anything at 2020.
It's bottom line.
Oh, okay.
Now, what does the, I just call it the ambulance fund grant. Not grant,
The apparatus and equipment fund?
yeah. What does that, what are we allowed to spend that money on?
On new vehicles and new equipment.
So it's on new purchases.
Well, there's more, it's a little bit more. Ambulance billing service comes out of there.
Yeah, I mean,
Disposable EMS equipment comes out of there. So there's fire, EMS, and rescue equipment purchases, and also advanced medical training can come out of there.
Paramedic training.
do we have the language of that grant in our packet?
I gave you a synopsis, not much, but there's a page. It's not a grant.
Yeah, I can find it in the,
You know,
I can find it in
was
the,
it?
Yeah, 2 years old.
2005.
annual. I can find it in the annual.
Yes.
You asked for the accounts, and I told you the account what was in them as at the end of November, and a little synopsis of what each one was for, when it was established.
So $6,000 in Opticon, okay.
Yes, so there are 4 intersections that are broken, and we had a company come in to give us an estimate of what it would cost to repair those, and that's their estimate, and there's going to be more because they're all on Route 3, and we needed a police detail, but the town consultant's going to cover the police detail portion of when the guys are repairing
So-
those intersections.
Is the fire district the only one that uses the Opticon?
No,
No, everybody, any ambulance service, any fire service, any police service, but they're in district, so somehow.
Okay, so has the Tilton Police Department and Tilton Board of Selectmen been approached to share that cost?
Yes. And they're gonna cover the police detail, or details, depending upon how many it
How about the state police?
takes. No. The state used to do a lot of the repairs for us, but then they stopped doing it for some reason.
Okay, that's actually. So, it's hard to swallow that with everyone that uses that comes to this country. If it's broke for us, it's broke for them as well.
How do you find out how many different agencies use it? I mean,
How do you explain how it landed in this budget is a better question, more important.
Well, I can tell you how it ran in this budget, right?
You put it in there.
Well, I put it in there because Captain Ames, who was in charge of fire alarm and the intersections and stuff like that, did a survey of the intersections. And we're going through someplace in the fire, you get to an intersection and the lights
So the
aren't
cars
turning.
don't stop.
Yeah, the lights don't turn green for you. You know that there's something screwy, and then you go back and check it out and say, it's just not working. Something's wrong. Either the optical receiver, or the card that's in the box that controls the lights, or something else.
Well, the activation is a strobe light.
The strobe light shows you that it is activated. That it-
I don't mean on the light, I mean on the vehicle. The strobe light flashes so many times a second it activates it.
That's correct.
Who owns that?
The strobe light?
The sensor on.
We own the activator.
Yes.
Who owns it
Who
all?
owns what's activated?
So the state, like if there's a new intersection, like at Taco Bell, they had to do a new intersection there. The state requires Taco Bell to put the equipment in to control that intersection for emergency vehicles. That's it.
And so
Do they own it in perpetuity, or do they hand it over to the owner?
Then it becomes a property of the state.
and then the state says it's all yours.
And if that traffic light doesn't turn red, not when you're going to a call, because they turn green when you go to a call. Right now, that traffic light does not work,
The state comes out and fixes whatever it is to make the traffic lights work.
because it's their equipment.
Yeah, but they don't care about the other thing. They used to, but through budget cuts and reduction in personnel, their explanation to me is we just don't have the time or the people to do it. So it's not gonna get done.
So when there's an accident, when there's an emergency vehicle, it's going to respond to another accident.
Now they have 2 accidents.
Yeah, not in 2 accidents, it's still not enough space to listen to.
How far did you go with the state?
To the area, the guy in charge of this district.
These guys down at Swimming Bear.
That's where they,
The guy in charge of this district is in Guilford.
yeah, that's Alan Hanson.
So, have you talked to state senators and whatnot?
I haven't
That's
talked
what we
to
do
the state
over
senators.
across the other way. I know it's $6,000, but it doesn't seem like tons of money, but still.
I actually, when we first had this on the budget, because where I work, we deal with a lot of emergency agencies. And I asked them that question, like, you know, who repairs the Alpha pod? And they're like, well, we do if we want it done. I mean, whatever.
Yeah, it's not good
Yeah.
enough.
When I was in Tewksbury, same thing. I always end up in the fire department budget to get it fixed, even though the police use it more than the fire department.
Right, so we use it, we fix it, everybody else gets to use it, and we put the bill.
I guess it's a service we provide when they come through our town, providing mutual aid.
So when we go
We
through
roll out the
Franklin,
green carpet for them.
when
We
we
go
go
to
through
Franklin, we use
Franklin,
theirs.
we use theirs.
Yeah.
We go to
Okay.
Lakes General or Concord,
Right.
we use theirs, they use ours.
I know, you said Tilton didn't want to do it, is that what I heard?
No, they said they would pay for all the police details when the company's out there doing all the work and stuff like that.
Got to put a truck in the middle of the road.
If it was a state truck, they wouldn't require a detail, but since it's a private company, they need a detail.
So I have a question posed.
Hose.
How do you repair a fire hose? Just seems frightening to me.
So
Either it works
you,
or you replace it.
well, it depends upon where it breaks. If it breaks near a coupling, you just chop off
Cut
2
it
feet
back.
and then recouple it with
Okay.
With a lot of electrical tape, so if you guys.
Yeah.
So
No,
then,
that's not
when you
I'm
turn it
thinking
on,
of some of my
it's-
hose repairs.
you turn it on,
Okay.
it just starts spraying.
I don't see this 63.110 on before. This looks like something new. Can you tell me about this gas
it.
meters?
Gas meters?
It's not real.
Well, if I look
I know.
in 2018 and 19, I know 20 is not done, but you didn't raise and appropriate, you raised,
Because
I don't, yeah, it's down here wrong.
it was, they lumped it.
It shows
But
nothing.
if I look in 2019, only $356 was spent, in 2018, $549, and now you've gone up to $1,570.
Some of those,
So what is
correct me
it?
if I'm wrong, some of those, if it's blank, it's the year they bought a new one out of the apparatus and equipment fund, and then some of those
I don't
things
know.
are. some of those
So this
things-
is for, I can tell you what this amount is for. It's for 2 bottles of calibration gas,
Really expensive.
which is, okay, so the meters, I can show you one.
No, it's okay.
It's a 4-gas meter, and for it to be accurate, you have to calibrate it. And you need a special gas to calibrate it, and that gas is like $400 and something a bottle.
Ouch.
Plus,
Okay.
there's sensors that you have to buy because there's an O2 sensor, a carbon monoxide sensor, hydrogen sulfide sensor, and if those things go bad, you have to replace the sensor, and those sensors cost money. So that's what this is for.
Weren't those new purchases?
No.
Not unless it's in the
Hard
store.
sign.
Okay, thank you for that education. Anything else? We're down to service and testing then. What's up with the area?
The aerial has its annual maintenance inspection, and that's by the company that made the aerial. They're from Connecticut, they come up from Connecticut, that's where the dealership is. We spend a couple of days here and we go through the aerial to make sure that it meets certification.
Has that not been done this year yet?
It has been done, and I just,
Just not
did we
in
mail
there?
that back yet? It was done just last month. We don't have the bill for it yet because I just signed the paperwork
It's
off.
$4,355.
Oh, okay.
So it's just not in this one yet?
Oh, you're looking at the old one.
Yeah, it must be.
Yeah.
It's a new one.
The company that sold us the truck is the same company that came with the spec now?
Yes.
That's a pretty big case.
Well, the
Great.
there's a liability in it. So the
Any
reason,
conflict of interest?
yeah, so no, actually not, because no one else is going to do it. Because the liability,
It's a good racket for them.
well, if you buy, this is, because this is who made this truck, has their people inspect it.
Yep.
Other people don't really want to inspect it because they don't want to take on the liability involved with inspecting somebody
Signing
else.
off on it.
Right. Every aerial, it's a hydraulic device,
Yep.
but they're all, every different make is different in how they put their sensors in and control their hydraulics and stuff like that. The computers, you know.
So they'll back their work for a price.
Yeah, so for 20 years, they'll be coming out.
Sounds like what they're doing, they're getting paid to provide their own warranty. In layman's terms, I know.
Yeah.
Good gig if you can get it.
And we just smile and take it.
Hey, Jake?
They're running out of work.
Is that under the same head
Yes,
of service
yes,
testing?
continuation.
Fire alarm annual service test, again, doesn't look like we did it in 2018, 2019, is this something new?
No.
No, it should have been done, but it wasn't.
Say what?
It should have been done, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
Anybody? Okay, gasoline, diesel, and vehicle repairs? What is vehicle repairs others?
That's for, so everything from, that, if you look to the left, that has
Uh-huh,
a vehicle assigned to it,
yeah.
that's exactly what I know I need to do to that vehicle
Those
this
are
year.
planned.
Planned, you know, it's
That's
vehicle
30,000
maintenance or
is-
planned repairs.
30,000 is an unplanned wild card, and pie that he slices up as things break.
So that's a just-in-case figure.
Yeah.
So, what's,
It's not an if, it's a when.
The forestry.
right, I know what it is, but I'm looking at the chief's number of $8,600 and the commissioner's number of $11.
That's the difference of a plow.
Yeah, I wanted to put a flag with that.
What does the fire district need to plow?
We have to plow Shed Road because where our repeater is a class 6 and the town's not plowing it. So we have to plow Shed Road for about 300 or 400 feet to get access to our repeater. We have to plow the fire stations. We help plow the fire hydrants.
Where is
And in the middle of the night, when it's snowing and we go to emergency, sometimes we gotta plow away to the emergency. Plow driveways to get it, so we get the ambulance into the driveway.
Back up. We paid buku bucks for hydrants, and we helped plow them out?
We used to do it early.
Okay.
Great deal. So, what are you plowing with now?
Utility 1,
And that plow broke.
the pickup and with an 8-foot plow.
Okay.
Did they tell you that plow's out of service, chief?
Yeah, I saw them working on it when I left. So that plow is from 2005, it came with the pickup truck. You probably don't know that. And it's getting really, really tired.
Okay, then why would you put it in prior to the truck rather than just buying a new plow.
To the other part.
The other truck.
I'll tell you, because since we have to plow Shed Road, and it's a longer stretch of rough terrain that we have to clear, I thought that this truck being a little bit more heavy duty, we could put a little bit bigger of a plow on it, to be able to clear it more effectively.
So,
I wasn't planning on the other plow being broken right now.
so that's a $7,500 difference.
That's correct.
What were you gonna buy for $7,500?
Went to place down the street here, used to be in Belmont, the Truck Friends, and they quoted me $7,500 for a 9-foot bead wall.
Is there a wear and tear that takes place when you have a plow on your truck?
Cutting it, well, on the truck,
I mean, no,
the
the
plow
truck.
itself is cutting it.
Right, but I mean, on the truck, I guess I didn't ask you.
That's how, depends how you drive it when you plow.
Yeah, your front end, your ball joints take some stress, your suspension takes a little beating. Your rear end,
Snow,
I
you're-
use a tractor, so I don't know.
yeah, rear end's working harder, you know, the rear deck. What's the other pickup? No, I mean, the pickup he's talking
Computer
about.
what?
It went dead,
It's one of the two they bought.
Yeah, you know, 3/4 ton?
so.
Is that a 250 or
Jane is
350?
somehow
350.
Probably not
It's a
here
one-ton.
anymore. I can't get it to come back on.
So you want to use my phone? Call Jane?
Yeah,
Did you lose somebody?
Yeah, her computer died.
yeah, it ran out of power and it told me that when it shut off.
But, oh,
That's what my phone does. I'm like, hello?
So I'm running to plug it in and it won't come back on. I'm like,
Any other questions about vehicle repairs?
Yeah, but
Hello?
hi
Hey,
Jane.
Kathy's computer died, so we have to use the phone.
Oh, okay.
All right?
Well, I got to
Please
see,
don't
I
tell.
just sent her a text saying she disconnected me.
No, the computer did.
Oh, okay.
Do we have Charlie someplace?
Yes, Charlie's on that phone.
Okay.
All right, I'm all set.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
Still with
you.
us, Charlie? Okay, he's still with us.
Do they have any questions on vehicle
is there a
repairs?
speaker?
Candy's computer down.
I'm going to,
So we can get out of here, supposed to sound.
Moving on to books and periodicals and departmental awards. Departmental awards, is that more
All
than
right, I
budget?
gotta look at the budget now.
So, we decided, we used to have the award ceremony over at the Pine Center, and we decided that we're gonna move it to someplace that has try and have a nicer environment,
it's a bank.
and, like a banquet, and have a serve a dinner to all the folks that do all the hard work during the year, and so that's the increase in cost of that. The increase in cost is being shared also by the union folks and the firefighters association. And we booked Lockmere.
Buckner Country Club?
Yep.
Anybody else?
You gotta be shooting off your, what's this stuff called?
Well, we can or we can't, depends on what you want.
And you get canceled this year for COVID.
Yes, this year's was canceled for COVID, so this is scheduled for September, I forget what date, September in 2021.
Just let me know, and I'll make sure they don't, or if you want to, they will. At the appropriate time.
I don't know.
Page 9,
Hold on a second.
uniforms, ooh,
Gotta connect back with Chief, it's Charlie's. Oh, here it is. Charlie, is that you? Hold on. I know, technology is terrible.
I like that.
Hi, Charlie, you're back. All
I
right,
can hear you better too.
good.
Okay, we're on page 9. Did you have any questions on page 8 before we flip?
Oh, I guess I'll just.
Okay, top of the page, uniforms, miscellaneous, anybody?
All company uniforms.
Yep. So we buy uniforms for the whole company, whether it be jackets, sweatshirts, t-shirts. We want them to be identifiable when they go to the call.
That you bought $1,700 worth of,
Yep.
and you, how many people that go to calls for the call company?
Currently, we have 12.
And their response rate is what?
How many calls do they go to? Depending, well, you mean during the day or?
Total.
We spend over the course of the year?
Yeah.
Over the course of the year, they respond to about 20% of the calls.
And what you bought last year to respond to 20% of the calls isn't adequate for this year?
This is something that is kind of like a little benefit for them. They have a little pride in their organization. They also buy, a lot of them are buying pants and stuff like that. So, and they leave all their stuff here. So when they respond, most of the call folks respond here, and they put on their uniform and then respond to the call. Especially the EMTs.
We require them to have department uniforms on call so that everybody looks professional. So
Right.
because we require it, we have to buy it.
I understand that, but you just bought it last year. Well, you bought it this year.
Or bought a portion of it. I see where you're going with this. They respond 20% of the time, that's $2,000, and then everybody else responds 80 to 100% of the time, and it's only $4,000. You're not getting a bang for the buck.
I think we're getting a huge bang for the buck out of call firefighters. Imagine what this response time could be here without them.
But has anything happened to these uniforms you bought this year that they need to be replaced?
Some of them probably are. But I don't track every single
So-
item that they buy.
So some from one year doesn't relate to more than the entirety of them.
We basically give them allowance, an allowance. So it's like $120 a year or $150 a year per qualified call.
They can choose which pieces they need to upgrade.
Yeah.
Right.
Does that include the call numbers?
Yes,
So if
it
you got
does.
400 people, they would need a little bit more, and then maybe some extra numbers.
That's correct.
COVID.
I thought last year we talked about the support company. We had a conversation about that where we said go ahead and we're going to present them on something. So we thought we appropriated. We just never spent it obviously because we didn't have the awards night.
Yes.
Okay.
Is that like a CERT team? Is that what that?
Yeah, similar, but we call it the red company.
They do like coffee and soup and they just bring their own meals and stuff.
You call them anytime and they start showing up with, sandwiches or cold drinks or coffee. It's kind of like a 13. They don't do traffic control.
All right, COVID, you've got $2,277 you spent so far this year. You're only asking for $300 next year? Or is that miscellaneous?
Miscellaneous is 300.
What is the miscellaneous?
That's a good question. It's anything that's not covered within the budget, and there's no place else for it.
$300.
Yeah.
So 2,277 has bought you enough PPE to cover you through this year?
No. We've purchased a lot more than that, but we've received grants to cover
That
a
is
lot,
offset.
that offset this cost.
That's why I only showed that amount that's being expended. Because
And-
that's what hasn't been covered yet by the grant.
Right, and then I submitted another ASG COVID supplemental 2 grant. I submitted that last month for around $2,000, so hopefully we'll win that, but it's competitive, so I don't know. I don't know yet.
Dry hydrants and cisterns. Can you tell me why?
Yes, so every year we have to hire a diver to go out and dive all our dry hydrants to see if the pipes are clear, or we'll find out problems we can't get a draft on one for one reason or another. So we inspect all our dry hydrants every year by hiring a diver. While he's diving, he finds out what's wrong with those things, and when he puts a report together, we put a list together of what it's going to take to fix all the problems that he found, and then in the following year, we fix all those problems, and then he'll dive them again, redo it all over again, so it's like a continuing cycle every year.
So you only spent $2,250 this year. I can't imagine you're having a diver go up this month.
No.
So what are you going to
Who do you have that's around?
Let me see if I got that sheet.
If the diver finds
It's not any of
something
the-
this
it's
year,
not any of
it's
the
till
staff.
next year to get.
No, we hired
Not
a certified
necessarily,
diver. That was his,
yes,
So why such an increase?
but what needs to be repaired,
So you have a list from this year
Yep,
that weren't,
or 2021?
yes.
I missed that part. Okay.
so Clack Road, get further away. There's 18 inches below, the area of debris needs to be cleared for 225. 139 Winter Street, the water above 6 inches below, PVC pipe clear. Debris need. Yeah, I can't read it. It's a little too small.
I got it. It needs Bowie, 159 Colby Road. It needs a Bowie. 100 School Street is clear of debris. Lakewood, you need to watch the lake level on that one. You may need to extend the pipe to deeper water.
Yeah.
And the flapper's gone, so that needs to be replaced. Knowles Pond, 124 Knowles Pond is area clear of debris. Lake Edge, they need to put another block under the pipe to get it off the bottom. The Shed Road box is intact. The silt is 18 inches below the strainer and 5 feet of water above it. Shaker Road, the box is intact, the water's low. Weeds have filled the box, so there's major work needs to be done there to get it in good working condition. And Reservoir Road looks pretty good. So it's going to cost, the $22.50 is just for diving and checking all these hydrants. And then the rest of it is for repairs and maintenance that need to be done to them.
Okay. Anybody else?
Just a side note to that. There are other areas within the fire district that we want to add. We're looking more into doing cisterns, 30,000 gallon cisterns, just adding them in certain areas where we have little to no water supply. And so Steve, who does this part of the budget for me, asked for like $35,000 to put a cistern up on Lancaster Hill Road somewhere, because we had a dry hydrant there that we can't use anymore, that was private property, and they said, we don't want to use it anymore, so now it's a long way to water.
But you need land for a cistern.
Yes, we do.
So if they don't let you use the,
So we have to look for land, but I told them, I'm not gonna ask for the money until we have more concrete plan in place, rather than just say, give me money and we'll see what we can do with it. So, and there's other areas in Northfield and like, and Hilton that
What feeds the cistern?
it's a great big cement tank, so
You have to
we fill it up. And a 30,000 gallon stays there. until
So
we-
you put in a water storage tank.
Yes.
Okay, when you say cistern, I think of out west where
Rain.
it's supply.
A
right?
big rain barrel.
Well, yeah, so there's an outside supply, but you're gonna fill, you fill this. You
That's
just need a
correct.
piece of property to set it on.
Right. Or in, it's usually below ground.
Yeah.
But it's made of concrete, so you can know
I'm I wouldn't be surprised if that was prefab.
It is.
you got both concrete and land, right?
Not on Lancaster, but I know a lot of people that do.
I think Jerry does.
Yes, my neighbor does.
Yeah.
I mean, he's planning to do something with it.
Is there any zoning requirements that require developers to put in cisterns for so many?
Yes.
Houses.
It's either cisterns or sprinkler system, depending upon the size of the zoning. So the last housing development up off of School Street, all those houses are sprinkled instead of cistern. But at the same time, there are areas within the fire district that are already in place that lacking water supply.
All right. So if you have terms for that page, the commissioners are gonna work on an agreement for the hydrants.
We're waiting for our agreement from the mayor.
Is that gonna be a warrant article?
No,
Yeah,
part of the budget.
You're gonna put it in the budget?
it's too much fun.
You have a copy of the expiring agreement in your packet.
So once they produce an agreement, well, I guess we'll let you know the cost. This agreement is ending at the end of this month. The commissioners of both the water district and fire district met along with myself and John Chase, and we had a meeting about creating a new agreement or contract. The result of that meeting was that John Chase was supposed to meet with the deputy chief and myself to discuss terms about using fire hydrants for training and things like that. And so we did have that meeting, and John Chase is supposed to go back and meet with the water commissioners, and they're supposed to provide a document for us to review. And if we approve it, then we'll send it on to council for his review. But so we don't have anything to review right now.
Okay. Anybody have any more questions on that portion of the budget?
Is there now, or was there before, a requirement for flow and pressure, and, because they were color coding the lines of the
Yes,
hydrants for a while?
so they still are.
Yeah.
They still are. So those colors are equate to NFPA flow ratings.
For flow, yeah.
Yes.
So that, are they required to do that? Because it say that they agree to provide adequate, or?
Theoretically, they wouldn't charge us any fee for a hydrant that doesn't supply at least 500 gallons per minute.
Okay. So there's a baseline?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Wait, Mike,
Yes.
Make sure you're starting to go.
Okay. Do you guys want to go through the,
So when you, seems like everything in the budget, everything we do, all the money we spend is based on standards or comparisons to what other departments do and how they do it. Why is that same logic not applied to hydrants. Because I can tell you, if you did that, you'd see what a royal screw would take on those hydrants. Because other departments pay from nothing to very little.
Someone I know,
A lot of the towns cover the hydrant.
Well, there's a lot of towns over
Yeah.
on the system.
someone I know, they're not all towns have
City
water
limit.
districts, but there's someone I know that looked into that. Was it Peter?
He might have.
Who was
They
it?
looked, Peter Fogg, I think, looked into, other communities that had water districts where they paid a fee for the hydrants. And I don't remember what the comparisons were.
I had a
But I know that they weren't paying
going in
this.
years past, that's how I know. what I'm
Yeah.
talking about.
Me too, I've seen that. Do you want to go over the apparatus and equipment replacement fund budget tonight, or do you want to save that for the next time?
Shouldn't really take that long.
Yeah, if we can hit the highlights.
Okay.
That would be
I
quick.
understand that
It'll probably be quicker to have the chief just run through it, and then if you have questions, stop him and ask. Jane and Charlie, did you hear that?
Yes.
Okay,
What page are we on?
12.
it starts on 12, does it not?
Yes, it
Just want to
does.
make sure we're on the wrong page.
Yeah, but that's all revenue.
Yeah, that's just,
That's the revenue side. Flip the page, Kevin.
Hey, it's a song, isn't it, turn the page?
all right, chief, you want to just run through that?
All right, the first part is $35,700, and that covers $34,200 of that is for Comstar, our ambulance billing service. They collect 6% of our revenue, and which is a new contract. We just signed a new 3-year contract with them. They used to collect 6.5%, but after going out to bid, they came in as low bid at 6%. Then there's also a paramedic intercept fee there, and that's only used with basically Concord Fire, because if we need a paramedic intercept within the Lake Region Mutual Fire Aid, the bylaws of Lake Mutual Fire Aid state that one member community cannot charge another member community for fire fees, paramedic intercepts, or forest fire fees, or anything like that.
When did that change?
That's been in the bylaws of, I don't know, it's been since I've been there. Anyway, I don't know when it changed.
We used to get punked all the time.
Yep, well, it doesn't happen
And
anymore.
now that we have paramedic, we can't quote back.
So that's what that first
Now that we're
section
on
is
our-
for.
Well, that's probably bring someone up here.
There you go.
Not likely. Any questions on that first part? All right, moving on to the second part. This is for fire equipment. And the first thing down the line is for antenna for this building. Then the next line is for emergency pagers, and that's to replace 4 pagers and 12 batteries for those pagers. The next line after that is for IM responding, which is a service that goes on our phone. It's an app that tells us where all the incidents are and all that kind of stuff. It tells me if somebody's responding to an incident, because they go on the app and say, yep, I'm coming. And that way I know if they're coming or not, or anybody can see it actually.
Can you go back up a couple?
Yep.
Base stationary page 4689.
So that's for an antenna for this radio that's on the roof right there. That's, you know, it's, it hears pretty good but doesn't pocket because the element inside the fiberglass is broken. E-dispatch, the commissioners cut that out, and I don't have any heartburn over that. Gas meters, so on the first in bags of on the ambulance, there are CO meters that run all the time, 24/7, and after they're 2 or 3 years old, I forget which model this is, they have to be replaced, or these two need to be replaced. Next thing down is hose, so we have to purchase a bunch of hose this year to replace aging and broken hose. I think it's 15 lengths of 1 3/4, 12 lengths of 2.5, and 2 lengths of 4-inch soft suck. to go for our Z valves. That's what that amounts for. Nozzles, fittings, and appliances. We lost a 10-foot hook at a fire, so I want to replace that. The next line is flashlights, $15.75, and that purchases 4 flashlights for vehicles, and then 8 personal flashlights that go on the turnout gear, and those run on just regular batteries, they're not rechargeable. Protective clothing is the turnout gear, the firefighter gear that we wear, and that line's going up this year because we're adding 4 additional personnel. SCBA, we buy, we're going to have 4 spare masks, so if we damage one or break one within the fire department, there's another mask right away for them. And then we also have to replace the batteries in the SBAs every 6 months, and that's going to take 324 batteries. The next line down is thermal imaging camera. So we have 3 of those in the trucks, 1 in the ladder, 1 in each engine, and those thermal images are 3 or 4 years old now, and the batteries need to be replaced. Vehicle equipment, we're going to purchase 10 orange cones. We generally purchase about 10 of those a year, and we seem to lose about 10 a year. But they're on every vehicle, the ladder and stuff, and that's for traffic control. Like when we have storms and trees come down, we close streets off with them and stuff like that. And I try and go around and collect them all afterwards, but people take them, and I don't know where they go. We put our name on them and phone number, so if they do pick them up and if they do feel like they want to return it to us, all they have to do is call and we'll go and get it. Tools, for replacement of some tools, I forget exactly which that was for, but I can look it up if you specifically know what it is. And safety equipment, we're buying more goggles and earplugs. Safety vests are in there, but we're not purchasing vests this year. We have enough. So that's that whole 740 section. Comes out to 5105. Any questions on any of that?
I'm all set.
All right, moving forward, EMS equipment. There is nothing that was submitted this year to be purchased for EMS equipment. Next thing down on there is EMS disposables, so that's one-time use stuff, and we have in the budget $40,000 for that. It's probably a little higher than what we'll spend, but since this is from the apparatus and equipment fund, it's better to have a little bit more in there than you might need, and then have a need and not have it in there, because anything that isn't expended goes right back into the fund. The next line after that is the clear laboratory user fee. So if we're doing blood sugars or drawing labs in the ambulance for the hospital, you have to have this certification to be able to do that. And so that comes up to $40,180. Any questions on that? All right, then moving forward, the last line item here is the rescue equipment, and we're buying 2 dry suits, $1,000 a piece, and we're also replacing 1,200 feet of rope, and at $1 a piece comes out to $1 a foot, excuse me, comes out to $1,200 for a total of $3,200.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear, what are you buying for the 2,000?
Dry suits for swiftwater rescue.
Oh,
It could be in the lake too. And finally, on the last page, are 2 warrant articles for vehicles, one for an engine and one for an ambulance. And their costs are right there.
and that all comes out of that equipment fund, right?
That's correct.
Chief, is there an official schedule for replacement of equipment, like is the ambulance every 5?
Yes.
And every...
You gotta get that capital plan.
Okay.
I'll give you a capital improvement plan. I'll send it to you.
Could you make sure all of us have that?
Yes, I'll send it to the budget.
Thank you.
So, when you get it, it's gonna be a few months old. The most accurate one will be right after the close of our, this calendar year, because then I can see exactly what we spent, exactly what we took in revenue and stuff like that, so I'll update it and I'll send it out again, so you can see that how it's going to work out. But it's healthy.
When you purchase these vehicles, what is the warranty on them, like, in other words?
So-
Will we just do normal maintenance, such as oil changes and et cetera?
The warranty,
No, she wants to know about maintenance,
oh, maintenance.
what the warranty is. When we buy a new one, does the warranty cover everything except normal maintenance?
Pretty
Transmission
much.
falls out in 6 months, do they
Oh,
cover
yes,
it? Or do they
yes.
say, no, it's being used for?
No, the vehicles we buy are designed for the specific job that they do, and so if there's a problem with the engine or the transmission or rear end, that's covered under a warranty for a certain period of time.
What is a certain period of time typically?
It's usually bumper to bumper for 1 year, and then it's prorated, you know, up, like for an engine, it's bumper to bumper for 1 year, and then certain things for paint, like the paint is supposed to last 10 years, the frame rails are lifetime warranty, the engine and transmission are by the engine and transmission manufacturers, and those are different time frames, different things. Some of them might be 5 years, 100,000 miles, things like that.
Any other questions on this? that
That's
we've
better
gone
than
through?
you break it, you bought it.
So we'll come inspect it for you.
Yeah.
All right. So, my suggestion is to go through,
Chief, the engine, is that basically a carbon copy of the one that we just ordered?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the one we just ordered cost approximately 693 or 694, and I went out to bid on this new one already, and it's 720.
Yeah.
So the price, and we knew the
We
price.
kind of saw that coming.
We knew that was coming. So now that's before any trade-in. I'm going to try and trade some of this stuff in, and hopefully we can reduce the price somewhat.
So we'll make the commissioners push back and say, hey, you sold us one.
What are you thinking for an annual?
Give us the same price.
The same as what we bought the last time. It's a little way to into it. It's a Ford F-550 4x4 Fortin block. Fortin 602.
so I suggest we go over what we've seen
Yeah,
tonight,
so
compare it with the new budget we've gotten.
Keep that,
When we come back together, maybe we can approve some of these
Well,
lines.
yeah, I'm glad we did it this way.
The 7.3 gas.
Make a motion, but now
I don't
we've got
know.
to simmer
I
on
know you
hear everybody's
like
interaction.
the ambulance
Yeah.
manufacturer.
We'll look at it and
Build it that way.
So I'm not going to give you an update for the next time,
If one will.
because the only thing that's going to change is what has been spent
I'll check that. I'll check
for expenditures. And that way you'll be working off
okay.
what you've got. And then for the one after that, I'll do that.
Okay,
All right.
motion to adjourn.
When would you like to meet again?
We're already scheduled Friday.
We are scheduled
Are you
for
going
next
to schedule
Friday.
for next Friday? Or do you want to
We
put it
had
off?
a,
No, I know, but I said we come back and address it.
Yes, you
Sure, each week, we're good.
Yes.
Next Friday's
I
good.
haven't posted it yet, so just let me
Okay,
know.
everybody's good, next Friday?
If you'd like to take advantage of it, North Shore Town Hall will be there.
is it ADA accessible? Can I take a shower?
Not yet.
Okay.
Do you want to move our meeting to the Northwood Town Hall? Everybody,
I'm fine with that.
would you?
Do we have to wear masks there? Okay, thanks. Or I can make those decisions on my own as an adult.
Well, except the governor has mandated, yes, we will wear masks.
Is he gonna come check?
No, but I'm a health officer.
What's the fee or the fine for not
So,
wearing?
health officer,
$500 a day.
I'm hired by the state of New
I
Hampshire.
don't know, 'cause I read the
Sally?
governor's order that there is no.
Yeah, Mr. Fennel.
Yes.
Oh, there's
But
that
there's,
fear monger.
but there actually are penalties. They can be up to $2,000 a day. They're averaging,
Where is that published?
executive order 70,
Three?
no, maybe it's 63.
It's got to go back, because it's not in
It's the one that came out in
Yes.
August. I think that's 63. The new one's 74. It's 63. All right,
Okay,
we're
so
all set?
that was my motion.
It's 7.3.
Did you motion to adjourn?
Yeah.
And then it brought up a discussion of meeting and where and when.
No, it's because you had voted on it. And did you get a second?
I did get a second.
There you go.
I can't count on it.
Will you listen to?
So, before you get the second,
I have a question. If you're meeting in Northfield, what do you need for Charlie and Jane and anybody else to attend virtually?
Same thing you got right here.
Okay, so just, Chief, you're gonna have to learn how to run it for the next meeting, because I'm not gonna be there.
are we going to be covered?
You'd have to learn how to run it if we were here.
Well, if we don't, we'd have to adjourn the meeting.
No,
No,
not this.
really.
He hasn't.
This is the Teams, I have done that.
Okay.
I've done a
What will you do?
Uber.
Say what?
Uber conference.
Charlie
2.5
calls on us.
Next week.
Yeah,
Oh, so we could, if we had to, we'd just do this?
do this, yeah.
But if
and
somebody,
call-
but here's,
Someone from the
so
public
here's the
too.
problem, yes, thank
Yeah.
you. If somebody from the public wants to phone in,
There's no
they-
number.
There's no number, because we connected via our personal cell phones to make
Right,
this work
so-
tonight, because my computer died.
your computer died.
Why won't your computer work on our power?
It will,
will,
but
it wasn't plugged in.
it wasn't plugged in tonight.
So,
It was running on battery. And
so
because
next
it's a,
Friday, if we be certain that we are set up, like in our computer things, and whatnot, so that if the public wants to phone in, they can.
Mhm.
And then our two computer people can also hear us, right?
Yeah.
They're in there somewhere.
there are, yeah, the two,
Our
the-
cyber people,
yeah, our cyber people, yes,
okay?
okay.
Looking at
I
you.
know you're looking at me.
I'll have it all set
Okay.
up for him, and
All right.
I'll walk him through it, and,
We're good?
yeah,
Can you do it for 10
Second.
minutes?
Roll
no.
call vote.
Right, yes.
Can you vote on it?
Adjourn.
No, I want to stay all night, no.
Both
Okay.
in,
Dawson, yes.
Lewandowski.
who's
Charlie,
second?
did I hear you say yes? Awesome. We are adjourned. Did you hear that? Oh, you guys are going to join us remotely. Okay. All right, have a good night.
Good night, thank you. Bye, Jim.
Bye.
So sometimes, Chief, you're going to have to explain to me the difference between call and other
This
guys.
one.
Call career. So call a part-time employee.
I have to make notes. That has to do with age, I
Close
think.
here right now, if you like.
Okay, call is